Anyway, hey, if there's one thing we're not, it's professionals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't be nervous about this one.
So,
I'm nervous.
so you're going to fit in just fine.
Okay, all right.
All right, we're back for, what is it, season 4?
Season 4, this is episode 2.
Episode 2. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of who episode 3 is. He might be sitting here today.
He's going to be next on the hot seat, ain't he?
We almost got the whole Derby clan here together.
Yeah.
Yeah, got him rounded in now, don't
First time in a long time.
Yeah.
Who else? There ain't who else we forgetting?
From Derby?
Why am I forgetting?
I'm not even from Derby, but I'll take that clan.
Oh well, we'll claim you for the next hour because we kind of need you.
Okay, sounds good.
See, I always tried to back in the day when we first started getting on. I was trying to be the Derby Dirt Gang.
Yeah.
You know, we're the
Except
Derby
you're a
Dirt,
logger.
The Derby
Except
Dirt.
you're a-
I don't matter. I'm dirty. It don't matter. It's dirty anyway.
So this is a good spot to start off, Loggerway. You realize you're responsible for all this?
For what?
All this?
Oh, that's yeah.
It's like when you're at Christmas and Grandma's sitting there and we all know where we came from. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
No,
when Grandpa seen me.
it's not that type of podcast.
Oh, okay. The music he chose. Oh.
No, I still remember. So for people that don't know, we got Loggerway on the podcast, which was the Derby sensation, YouTube famous guy
I don't
forever.
know about any of that.
I remember, what was it? So what year?
I was beating my head around, thumping my head around doing this crap way back when it was.
So what year did you start YouTube? It was like 2011?
Something like that, 11 or 12.
I just remember me and you were hanging out a lot more for them because we didn't have kids and craziness and all that stuff. But you told
Then
me you were going to
started having
start.
kids.
You told me you were going to start YouTube, and I thought, you crazy SOB.
Is that the exact words I had when
Yeah,
you said
pretty
it?
much exactly.
Okay.
Pretty much the exact same thing he told me.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2011, you started YouTube, and technically you're still going, even though you haven't posted in a while.
I looked this morning. I haven't looked. I closed that. Well, I don't have a laptop, but just for visual, I just went, that's the end of that, and walked off. And this morning was the first morning I've even looked at my YouTube since, and it was 6 months ago when I posted my last video.
Well, we'll get to that.
And I haven't even looked at YouTube for 6 months.
All right, don't get too far ahead of yourself. So hold on, we're going to get around to that. But long story short, if it wasn't for you being crazy and deciding to start YouTube in 2011, I don't think you would have did it in 2015. I don't think I would have did it in 2018. I don't think he would have did it in 2019. So I always tell everybody, I give you credit for everybody once in a while I'm on YouTube. It's Loggerway's fault.
Loggerway.
You remember when George Bush became president? And everybody was like, if he could be president, I could be president too. You know, that's kind of how my YouTube.
I thought that was
I didn't know where he's going to go through this.
No. But you know what I'm talking about. Like you'd hear him talk as president, like, man, I could be president. Listen to him. You know, and then I think that's what, and then YouTube went the same way. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I never put
That took a U-turn at the end of the road right there.
I never put President of the United States and YouTube content creator on the same platform.
Well, it depends where you put your ego at.
Yeah. Wade just said his goes really high.
Yeah, I used to. I turned the camera on.
So are you blaming the disappearance of your channel on a terrorist attack?
It felt that way.
All right, let's get on track here. Just to be clear, you and I have been friends way before YouTube.
Since I got drunk and come down here, remember?
Yeah, but even before that, our families.
Hell, I remember that. Shirtless on a four-wheeler like a meat platter or something.
That's how country bumpkins are. We never put clothes on until y'all come around.
You said,
it's like, man, these people are putting shoes on and shirts, and we're gonna have to change our get-up.
Yeah,
We got neighbors now.
They're making Derby fancy, ain't they?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we didn't even, you know. They used to, they'd come around every once in a while, hold one of us down, put shoes on us, and let us up, see us buck.
See us buck. Watch him now, watch him.
There he goes.
I can't move.
He's doing shit.
They moved into this, and then they brought the technicalness to it.
So you two know each other. You guys went to school together.
Me and Chris grew up together.
We've been high school, elementary friends.
We was
school
elementary friends.
Sweethearts for a second.
We was like the nerds of our.
We
was
was
the
the
nerds.
redneck nerds of
The
the
redneck
whole
You two might be good salesmen, but I don't think you're going to sell on the nerd of the.
We was nerdy.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
just we didn't have like a pocket.
We
protector
were
or
the
nothing, but-
Levi cowboy boots, t-shirt.
Yep, and we look
Could
at
you imagine? We
tractor
did not know them at
magazines.
this
and
time.
You got to look at the genre of the school. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that's sweet.
You gotta
We
look at
wasn't
the
on
school.
crack.
No,
We never had a rock in our pocket.
no. So
It scares me that you had to specify that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. But
probably the 4th or 5th grade is probably where we really took off.
I don't know. We was hanging out at each other's
Yeah.
place. and
Yeah.
I guess it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause we would.
Then, because come 7th grade, you go from, in Prairie Central, you go from elementary to the high school and you get your locker, and then you got locker partners. There was 2 people per locker. Somehow me and him teamed up
Every year.
and got a locker. Well, from 7th grade to 12th grade,
Yeah.
we were locker partners all through junior high.
We
and high
don't
school.
change much. So it's like
Yeah,
the
we don't
same
change
food.
much.
We probably like the same, ate the same
We
food.
done, yeah.
You guys still got a locker together somewhere?
No, we don't. We don't.
No, I did have it, well, I shouldn't probably tell it, but our senior year, I just ripped the locker number off the locker. And I had it on my keychain for years.
that number? Get 'em, boys!
Well, I think they've changed lockers since then,
Doors
so they
will
probably
bust
don't
in
need them
any
back. There's one locker out at Prairie Central with duct tape on it and a Sharpie on it with a locker number.
SWAT team. Oh, anyways.
But, we played 5th and 6th grade basketball. I think we both played
I was
basketball.
terrible.
No, I was too. I warmed the
couldn't.
bench up.
He was bigger than I was, though.
Yeah, but that don't mean you can play basketball good and big. I just run real slow. And that was about the end of that story.
I shouldn't tell this on us, but when we was kids, his mama would not let him swim. So he never learned how to swim. She was terrified too, wasn't she?
She cannot swim either.
So she was terrified, so he couldn't swim. You know how it was. So then we had a pool. So one day, I decided I'm gonna make him swim. I don't know why I took this on myself. I didn't realize how strong Chris was until he decided he couldn't swim.
I'm surprised we're both alive.
You was freaking out, and it scared me. Then after he started freaking out, and it scared me, I thought, well, let's push him in.
What'd you do, throw him in?
Yeah, pretty much. I tricked him. I couldn't push him any bigger than I was, but I tricked him, and in he went. And then next thing you know, he went. You hear him talk about people going. He went crazy. I was like, oh my God, this is a terrible idea. And I jumped in. I'm trying to, and he's like crawling on top of me. I will get. Well, it was on the deep end.
Wait, sitting on the
I
bottom.
just like, I'm going down because I can't stay up with him freaking out. So I went all the way down, finally grabbed his feet from the bottom of the deep end and was holding up on him, took him to the ladder while he tried to kick my head off. That's pretty much what, and we never tried that again.
We know. Well, we tried it, just not that deep of water.
Growing up with Chris was the funnest until you made him mad. When you finally he was easy going, but when you finally crossed the line, look out.
So was that your goal in life, to see how close you could get to him?
At times it turned out that way, but when he got mad, I'd go hide until he come out of it.
I could just see Wade in a whole other room. What are you doing? I'll be fine in a minute.
Why is the walls coming down? You better let him calm down.
Give him a space.
Anyway.
So then, probably,
We should point out that you live and grew up really close in the mill, too.
yeah, I'm 4 miles south of the sawmill.
yeah.
So,
Training
the
in
school
fair
bus
calves.
went past the sawmill, and then probably
Elvin. Elvin drove the bus.
7th or 8th grade, I started getting off at the sawmill and sweeping
Help
some
out
floors,
some.
and
Yep, we do some stuff.
stacking some short boards, and we probably screwed up and, getting paid $0.25 an hour to play, but at least they knew where we were. They paid us, they knew where we were.
And stacking short boards like riding the short bus, that's what you do until you graduate?
Yeah.
Until we graduate to
Until we
lumber room.
graduate, yeah.
That's what it's a process.
But,
Have you made it yet?
Yeah, I'm still in the lumber room.
but it lasted a
Been
couple
staring
years.
at that green chain for years.
And then, boy, once we got our driver's license, everything just kind of went crazy when we got driver's license. So.
I got girl crazy, and I was a terrible friend after I got girl crazy. I didn't know what to do. I was like, at that point, I was like, I don't even know what till then, I didn't even know what a girl was.
This seems like a whole other podcast.
It all went wrong. But then, and we lost each other for years.
Yeah, we graduated May of '97, high school. And it was probably 6 to 7 years before I ever seen Wade again or talked to him.
And I ran off to the girl corner, and he got to be the party man. Everybody partied around Chris.
Well, I went to college for a year, and then I went to construction. I was working
you're traveling.
Cincinnati, Indianapolis. I lived in Chicago 5 years, and coming home and working my ass off on the weekends. And, Wade was doing his family thing. And then still for a long time, we really might see each other once every other year and say hi. Or, I use the sawmill scales. And
yeah, I finally tracked him down there.
If I see him up there.
He's like, man, I was going to get out of here.
I mean, I think
no.
I think that's pretty cool. How many people do you still talk to you graduated with?
Yeah.
Not many. And if I do, it's once, just a random
passing.
Yeah.
I'm not good friends with anybody I graduated with. I got a few acquaintances, but all the people I used to run around with in school, you go to the next chapter in life, you turn the page and move on, right?
Yeah.
But I want to say in the last 5 years, we've probably talked way more since then.
Yeah. And Dirt Perfect.
Well,
I was
YouTube
going to say
thing,
the
too.
combination of YouTube and then in the last 5
business.
years, me and you've done a lot more work together, so it's kind of a
Yep. And
Having passed each other a lot.
our farm has grown quite a bit.
And our kids are getting old enough too, where they're not quite as dependent on us, so we can do a little more.
How many acres are you farming now?
All of them.
That's what I knew you was going to say. How many?
I can't say.
That's
like a truce. Farmers don't tell that on YouTube.
Don't kiss and tell.
Don't kiss and tell.
That's real men don't kiss and tell.
It's between 1 and 5. Is it 1 in 500? 1,000, 5,000? 100, 500?
Just all of them.
All I know is every time I think I've worked in every field he's got, he gives me a list of about 5 more I've never heard of before.
Some people have been getting hold of me I've been handing out numbers. I hope you don't get mad. I hope all of them's good people, good landowners. Who sent me all of this landowner?
Well, I had a strange one call me the other day, and I can't make the connection out on it yet. So.
It might have been me. I don't know. Who does farm around here? There's only one guy, really. Sorry, Chris.
But Big Mama, I've classified her as a second mom.
Yep.
You know,
our families was
always tight, and we've always had the same business motto. And we've seen our rough times, and we both ate the beans out of a can, I think, for a while, and and then come back out as semi-successful or successful, but we still like to work hard and dig at it.
I don't know about you, but I'm still eating beans.
I don't say it don't feel
crap.
it's
But I still I run into her at Walmart, so we're still family ties and using the sawmill scales quite a bit and buying sawdust from you.
Well, I think one other thing to point out is our county only has 17,000 people in it.
I was going to say 18,000
with the prison,
with the prison.
Yeah.
That's a correctional.
days.
I think 1,500.
That's a correctional facility.
Yeah, it's a busy place.
That's a correctional facility.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Does people get corrected in there? All right.
Says so on the
No,
side.
but it's definitely a facility.
It's a facility,
I
nonetheless.
have been corrected several times.
Yeah. But it's not uncommon for all of us to be as intertwined as what we are.
Friday nights anymore, we get together at the patio restaurant or whatever, and eat supper and catch up and family get-togethers or whatever. So anymore. But,
well, Wade, for the people listening that may not know, you're in the family sawmill business.
Yeah.
So give us a brief
we
history.
just a brief. Okay, well.
I mean, we got all day.
Well, Big Daddy got into it, and he grew up a family of 12 kids, hog farm.
Yep.
And didn't have much of a break, unless you're going to get there and earn it, and he was full of, can I say piss and vinegar?
Oh yeah.
I didn't say
This is the.
he was full of piss and vinegar, so I don't know what and then he had an uncle that co-signed for him, and they bought a 350B crawler, a dozer, and then it just all started from there. And now we have 35, I think, people work, 35 or 38 people works there, and we buy timber standing on the stump, and we sell finished lumber and or green lumber and other products, all fall and other products off of the.
So just to fill in a few blanks. First off, we have another podcast posted with you where you go into great detail about the history of the company and everything. So we'll try to link that down below. But one thing I think you missed is you guys buy the timber, cut the timber, truck the timber, saw the mill timber, and then market the timber.
A lot. It's vertical, and it's a lot of.
And
the profit margins are small. You want to make sure and get the landowners. You try to keep as much to the landowner as possible, and the system's designed to keep as much to the landowner as possible. And you're trying to, it's tight. It's very tight right now. Not to complain, but it is tight right now.
So for people that may not know, and I may get this wrong, but let's just say I'm a landowner and I got 100 acres I want cut.
Yeah.
You don't go in there and give them a price on it. They have a certified.
No, they have a sale.
They have a sale, which basically means a certified forester.
Yeah, you get a forester in there, so it's like it's an investment. So it's a piece of your portfolio, and the forester comes in and he manages that part of your assets, And what it's designed to is it's a growing organism, so it's growing. I don't know how to say it right. It's growing. It's ever
changing.
It's a crop. It's a crop that's growing, but it's multi-years, So based on how old you are, what the plans for the property is, what's best for the property, and what the trees have a life cycle, and that's a whole nother podcast. But based on all these stars lining up, when you cash in and how much you cash in.
Trees are like people, they're not productive forever?
Yeah, some are. Yeah, some are never productive. But anyways.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, so at the right time, then they hold up a bid sale, which a bunch of people comes in and competes with each other over the high. And you want, the goal is to manage the forest so you don't end up like California and everything burns down and global warming, whatever, yada, yada. That can be a whole other podcast. But
the moral of the story is you don't necessarily, you do get to decide the price of the timber, but you don't show up, walk the timber, market, and give him a price. You basically get a tally sheet from a forester.
Yep.
You can go out and verify what's on his tally sheet is actually in the woods. And you guys all sit around a big table somewhere.
And figure out how many logistics is going to
it may be you and 7 other loggers, and basically it's a bidding process, right?
Yeah, it's a bidding process.
And
It's a concealed bid.
It's a sealed bid, yeah.
So basically so whatever you're talking about, that's how the landowner maximizes their
investment.
investment.
And the idea there is you want to make it easy. You want to make people want to manage their forest. That's the goal. The goal is to get humankind to try to manage their forest for Mother Nature, for the world, for global warming, all the mess.
Because lumber,
they have to make money to want to do it, or else it won't get done. They'll just lock it up, and then trees will fall over, and then you got tinderbox.
People miss the point that a tree is a renewable resource.
Mm-hmm. Well, they miss the point. People don't garden anymore, so they miss the point that you have to manage your forest.
It's still a crop that needs to be tended.
What happens to a garden that don't get tended to?
The weeds.
The same thing happens in the woods.
Yep.
And the problem with a garden or comparing a garden to a forest is that a garden's is annual.
It's a 1-year thing.
And the forest is forever. So if you end up with a forest that's unattended for years, it turns into a tinderbox, which turns into a liability for all of us.
Well, they can take decades to write that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the system is designed to create healthy forests. That's what, in the long run, go to Russia and look at the timber. Go to United States and look at the timber, and you'll see. Russia's got shit timber. Sorry. And the United States has good timber because of this, except for what the government's locked up and won't touch. So You got productive, oxygen-enriching forests that feeds animals. Your
Nuts.
a hardwood forest left unattended turns into a beech maple forest, and that don't feed anything. Or it feeds the beech will feed the squirrels and stuff, but they're unproductive trees. You compare that to oak and hickory. That's a way more productive forest as far as food value and as far as commodity too. So but to do all this, the landowner has to make money. But the problem is when you're in the I wouldn't call it the meat grinder, but when you're in this process and you're locked yourself in the middle from your own bad decisions or whatever, the landowner's constantly looking at it as investment. Well, it can turn for many years. The cycle, the industry cycle in the hardwood until the China Trump thing and then the COVID thing and all the other things, until all that happened, it was 3 years. 18 to the top, 18 to the bottom, 18 to the top, 18 to the bottom. Problem is, when you're a landowner thinking long term for an investment, what you want to take care of your investment. When you get to the bottom, you lock up. When you get to the top, you dump. When you get to the bottom, you lock up. When you get to the top, you dump. Well, in the hardwood industry, everybody always asks, well, how come you can't get, the hardwood industry like the softwood industry? Well, the softwood industry is more regulated. The sawmill owners own their wood, so they consistently, manage it.
Feed supply.
Yeah, they can get, so like, well, we're whatever. But when you're out here bucking heads against somebody and they're just for dramatic pop here, you're selling a $6,000 tree. You're only going to sell it at the top of the market. By the time the guy harvests it, tries to move it and everything, it could turn into a $2,000 or $3,000 tree if you're in the high-end stuff.
And the sawmill.
You see what I mean?
The sawmill guy's the one
they're
that
carrying the bag.
Carrying that.
So because the landowner's like, I ain't taking a loss on that. I ain't going to sell.
Okay. So from my ignorance, you're talking about the softwood market. The mills own the wood, but you've got the variable of the landowner in the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
And but it's a large asset, or it's a large, it's taking a large chance to own, or it takes time, liability to own.
Yeah, you get in the South where you get a lot of hardwoods and a lot of chip mills. The sawmills owns the property and all the wood.
Yes, and a logger, which is a liability, logging is a liability. It's a freaking liability on wheels. Yeah. But you find a poor country boy with stars in his eyes, and you get him to harvest your timber for you. So you're not taking any chance. You're not taking the chances. He pays the insurance premiums because of and he pays Wall Street because he borrowed his eyeballs out to get that equipment to move the wood that you're trying to hold him at it's got to be no older than this because it'll be a hunk of junk, and it's got whatever regulations the company puts on them, and then they have to go. Paper mills does that stuff, and
the mill gets the product.
Pisses everybody off.
The mill gets the product with little liability.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the goal. Yeah. That's the key. That's the key. And there's always the country boy that wants to do it. Well, until recent years, there's less of them.
So just to back up here a little bit, so people who may not know, you're second generation at your family's operation.
Yeah.
You basically started off like you were speaking with Chris, sweeping floors, pulling short boards. I mean, you started off at the bottom.
Yeah. Yep.
Over the years, you worked your way up through the ranks. You went from working at the mill to truck driving to running the logging crew to
mechanic.
Well, I don't know if I'd really say running anything, but I try.
Well,
that's me. I wouldn't say that.
I mean, today the company is in the process of transitioning. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah. So
your wife and yourself are kind of taking over for your mom and dad, and I don't know where you're
helping.
I don't know where you're at in the transition. It don't matter, but that's the game plan.
Yep. That's the long-term game plan.
So, and you've been at this for what, over 20 years now?
That's all you've ever done.
That's all I've ever done.
All you've ever done. So it's not like you haven't seen some of these cycles and validate some of what you're saying because you've been there, seen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This ain't our first rodeo. Yeah. No, what I'm telling you, you can take to the bank. When I'm trying not to over complicate the thing or make it sound like a bunch of jargon, but that is.
I just want to validate your take on that.
Now, after the China thing, China, when we decided, we're done giving this stuff to China, giving away our jobs and all this, or whatever the cause that. I don't have a dog in that fight, but when that started, then we really got, you know, and it's been, and it's like, we started to get some, you know, and that really sucked in 17, 18.
Yeah.
17.
And then all of a sudden that
'Cause that was
and then
pre-COVID.
we started getting some wind back under ourselves. Like, man, well, we're finally going to get back to normal markets, you know, and
Then
then
COVID hit.
wham, COVID done stuck its, you know what in there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So then everybody got all, then the world locked down and then everybody got all weird.
Well,
Because they're
get what
stuck
you're-
at home and then to their own imaginations, I guess. And
what
then
you're
everybody
getting
went
into China
bonkers.
thing, you keep calling China thing. Don't try not to get in politics too deep. But we had a president that did not believe in a lot of trade
Yeah.
or struggled doing.
Which short term
trade.
was a killer, but long term.
Term.
Yeah, long term is probably the right thing,
But-
you know.
Because
You know, then on the ag side, the USDA supplemented the ag side pretty heavily, and the foresters and loggers got hung out to dry.
Yeah, well, they're not going to supplement us because of the public. We get
Perception.
stuck in the same daggone bag as somebody clearing the rainforest. Right.
Yeah.
We get stuck in that bag, and we're a total different animal.
Yeah, logging.
You know.
They think you have
Yeah, they put us in the same bag.
deforestation or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
What they say, you got the uneducated, educated, and the uninformed. So that is what's going on, but and you can sit there and whine about it, but I mean, I'm just saying that's what it is. You know, so from there, but the cool part is it's a very rewarding, as far as you stay in good health, you're mentally stimulated every day. You get to, me, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I get to work with a lot of people. You know, whether they're colorful characters or not. I mean, just,
let me ask you a totally random question. So you didn't choose logging. Logging chose you.
I guess.
So if your family wasn't into logging whenever you got out of high school and you could choose to do whatever you wanted to do, you think you'd still be logging?
I don't know. I've never
thought about it?
I've never picked my head up out of the trenches high enough to look around and say, what's going on? They ain't getting shot at back there.
He didn't know there
What's in the
ain't
back aren't getting shot at.
He doesn't even know there's another world
You
around
don't
it.
even know it ever. I looked at it. When they used to say in the Pacific Theater, 200 yards from the front line was a whole different war. I've never been out of the 200 yards from the front line in my whole
Well, I
life.
have no doubt you'd be doing something in the same realm, but I'm just
I don't know.
Yeah.
curious.
My mentality growing, you know, I don't know why this turned in, or if I should be talking about me, but my mentality growing up is I just love people and those around me. I'm trying to do what I can to be industrious and help those around me.
Right.
And if that is, you know, this, and that's what we're doing. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do the shit out of it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're going to do all of it, you know.
Yeah, and you're one of four. You got three other siblings, and the other siblings, for various reasons, have left the business.
And done great.
Oh yeah, all of them have been successful.
Everybody's done great.
You're the one that's kind of stuck behind, and I guess two of them are still technically in the industry, just different parts of it, right?
Yep.
So it's not like they went far, but you're the one that's kind of stuck in there with the family mill.
The machine there. Yeah, in the machine.
So-
and with the,
No, I was just curious. You know, I didn't really. I wasn't like Wade. I didn't grow up into a big family business where I could kind of walk into. I kind of got to choose my own path, and I chose two other paths where I finally ended up here, where you kind of went
Straight
first
into
in.
the family.
Yeah, stuck with it. So
Yep, it was just pretty much.
So is the lumber business back after COVID now, or
It
are
started back. It got down to where they couldn't get no lumber. Even with the market 6 months ago, they started keeping record in the 60s for our hardwood industry. In the 60s, they started keeping records of this, or the 50s. I can't remember.
Let me stop you there. You're talking about logging being like the rainforest. And within logging, there's pulpwood logging, there's softwood logging, there's hardwood logging. There's a lot of different types. There's clear
in the
cut,
logging
there's selective
aspect of it,
cut. There's
yes.
a lot of different stuff like that. So you guys specialize in selective cut hardwoods, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Which basically means you don't go in, clean a forest out. You go
It
in.
just depends. There's times it's just you got to listen to what the woods wants to.
Right, but your ultimate goal is to take the mature trees out, give the young trees a chance to go,
Yeah.
and go on. So I just want to kind of Make sure everybody's educated on the type of logging
Logging
you
you're
do.
doing.
Yeah.
Well, take for instance, voluntary tomato plants.
Back to gardening.
Back to garden.
Well,
You got, you love them. The little guys grow up, and you're like, man, I'm gonna move him over here and use him. Well, he don't compete with the fresh tomato plant. You know what I mean? And then if you say you gardened and you spent 3 years of gardening, and all you've gardened with was volunteer tomato plants.
you got weak tomato plants.
Yeah, you got pretty weak tomato plants. So at some point, you have to doze the whole thing over. That's what I tell them. What's the forestry plan? You be in a section that's a clearing, and somebody that's not used to it be like, what are we doing? Well, this is where you need a tree bazooka. But you don't harvest, you demolish. And when you get done, you're trying to make the sun hit the whole thing. And it's going to go woof. And it's going to come back like a maniac. And sometimes, just because you can't help it, sometimes you'll leave a couple walnut trees or something because you can't stand it's a walnut. You can't never take out a walnut. That's like that's your black gold. Those of you that's not used to
You pay your house off with that.
but everything else but now that's after the third cycle. It's a long story, but anyways, most of the time you're trying to sneak in, tippy-toe in, tippy-toe out best you can.
I think he answered his own question to your question and never realized that he did.
He's going to be a forester.
He's going to be a gardener if you ain't never been.
Yeah,
He's going to be a gardener.
I love gardening stuff.
I've been involved with a few longer layered gardens over here.
In fact, if I hadn't had this, I'd be either A, a greeter at Walmart, or B, driving Chris's grain cart. But I say that, but I'd be laying under the grain cart. Chris be going, you about done? I'm trying to put the wheel back on it. Somebody didn't grease the bearings.
Well, that's a sore subject.
And
but
you
we're-
drug it 3/4 of the way across the field on its axle.
That grain cart has struggled to keep the wheels on it.
It says, I guess when they say grease every 6 hours, they mean it. he mistaken that for every 6 years.
Yeah.
What I love about the forest industry is the people. There's so many good. I just love the people.
Yeah, it's
People
a very,
are
it's a
great.
very, very niche industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of times you're taking somebody that's had a rough past and you're helping them get their feet back under them. And so there's so many people you get to watch start out rough and then blossom. And that part I love about the industry.
I'd say
The work's hard, it's dangerous, dirty.
the biggest thing I see about owning is maybe owning forest is time you're old enough to buy some forest ground, or you're wealthy enough to buy some forest ground and start doing some management. It's a lot of investment that you may not even reap any benefit off in your life cycle
It's a retirement.
because it's a 30
If it don't
year,
match, if it don't match,
it's a 30-year harvest window sometimes, and if you ain't buying ground early enough to start your management program, you got to be willing to give it to your next generation to harvest that.
and there's people out there just had such a bad experience with podunk loggers. Not running any of my, I feel like all the loggers are my family.
Well,
I'm not running any
every
loggers.
industry has those people.
But if the people has been exposed to that and they get turned off of that, there is ground sometimes you can get a hold of that's just they're like it's
hold on to
due,
it.
but I'm not touching it. I'm not dealing with that. The next person can.
Well, for several years around here, a lot of the small loggers come in, market yourself, and log it on shares. And then it just gets raped or, or not managed
you're
right or whatever.
100% depending on what his tally versus that third-party forester we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They come in, they take everything that's high, and then
Leave the
all
meat.
the-
But I'll
Leave
tell
the
you
beach
what,
sycamore.
there's been a big scare in this state. I'm not to keep hitting on this subject, but there's been a big scare in this state over management stuff, or the chatter that I've heard, on the regulator side of our industry in our state, and about the white oak. The white oak's leaving and it's getting replaced and on unmanaged property, it's getting replaced with beech and maple, and on your fresher growing stuff, it's getting replaced with poplar. And they're like, how do we get the white oak back? How do we get the white oak back? Because this state was full of white oak. Well, why was the state full of white oak? Because of the Great Depression. We had a hog farm in every corner and we gutted the whole state. And white oak came back.
Yeah.
So we could get, and that's when people get like, it's such a delicate, like, no, we actually took hogs and gutted everything. You know how they, under the fence and stuff, and ruined everything and then made the best timber. That ain't a good management plan, but it worked the first time in the Depression.
Like you guys got a collaboration coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The good, bad, or ugly, too, is I farm some fields around some government ground that does controlled burning every 2 or 3 years. And it's neat to drive past there over the past 20 years where they burn. Every tree standing is a white oak. That's the only species I see in there is white oak. That's the only one that stands through the fire.
Well, what was it back in I just watched a documentary on this the other day. Back in the 1840s, the government bought the largest Navy base here in Indiana, Crane.
Yep.
Just for the white oak.
And the USS Constitution. I've harvested around the site where they keep the white oak for the USS Constitution. Yeah. It's growing. It's for the spot. There's a plot in Crane. It's for the USS Constitution. And
Can I see him?
I just get out of here, you! Throw that chainsaw down. I hate to incriminate myself, but I hit a stop sign once in Crane.
You've hit more than the stop sign in Crane.
I hit the stop sign. Well, Roger had. I never.
You knocked all the power out of the whole base.
All that other time. Yeah, me
knocked the whole transmission.
The only thing I can accept that's been done in Crane Naval Base that I've done was I hit a stop sign one time. I forgot I was pulling a trailer and I was not paying attention. That's what happened. By the time I heard it, the stop sign went. It didn't knock it over, but it bent it. And everything on Crane is like, oh, you better not mess up. And it's
so is this one of those situations?
You know what I mean?
One of the situations we were talking about earlier, where you just get the HL and dump it.
Yeah, I was looking up. Is there a drone? I'm sure they're waiting for the Navy police show up. Is
that what happens? You don't realize you're pulling a trailer after you knock your mirrors off, and then you don't realize you.
Who wiped out the whole side of the service truck at the gate?
Yeah, I was gonna say Roger got the service truck at the gate. So he gets scared easy. Like you scare a squirrel. It's like, so Roger pulls up and the service truck's wide and he forgot how to drive for that period of time. And he pulls in and of course Crane's built heavy duty, like the whole thing's, it's a naval base. So he pulls in there and it wasn't like a show truck by no means, but he pulls in and then he hits the side at the gate and rips and peels this thing open like a beer can. And then of course the guard goes, uh-oh, or something. Somebody said something. Roger looks, panics, floors it, and peels the rest of the truck open right there. Chainsaw falls out. Gloves, paper towels, parts, everything just peels out right there at the guard shack at Crane. We just peeled it out and throw it over, and it just peeled her open like a beer can.
Throw all your cards on the ground.
Here he goes, Roger, you're going to have to stop. He said, they will get us. I thought it'd be the first, be like the O.J. Simpson,
Yeah.
Here's Roger,
the slow runaway.
Chainsaw flopping on the side.
Is this how the green truck got a flatbed?
Yeah, that's how the green truck got. That's exactly how the green truck got a flat. That's how everything in our company gets a flatbed. You destroy what's on it, and then we get a flatbed.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, that, and then Roger hit the power lines.
Roger hit the power lines.
It's a common denominator.
I wonder why he's so scared.
Yeah, no wonder he's scared.
Yeah, he's scared all the time.
And you guys are getting ready to move back up there, ain't you?
Yeah. If they let us in after this.
Yeah.
Roger's just at the gate.
Nope, you're headed home.
Roger be handcuffed at the gate. Throw the book at him.
Yeah, Wade would not be the one going back.
Yeah, no, we don't. Me and Roger don't.
Hey, this is off the clock. Just so you know, we'll be back at the end.
That reminds me of that day Clint got taken in.
Yeah.
He's still mad about that. I was a joke. You just didn't get it.
So, what brought about YouTube and Longer Way?
I have no idea. I think we put a brick.
The timber bridge.
Yeah, well, you know, everybody lives their life with their own narrative, and they got in their imagination. They're like, man, you know, you can look in the mirror and be like, man, I hate that guy. You know what I mean? Or you can look in the mirror and be like, yeah, you know, same guy. It's just how you look at it. You know what I mean? And so when I look in the mirror and I can see my ego, and I'm like, what? You know what I mean? You're always looking up at it, you know? So we made this bridge, and it was, the cool thing about it was, the tree hugger capital of Indiana is Bloomington. And like, where's the camera? Oh, there's the camera. So Bloomington, right? So there's this.
But this is a podcast. There is no.
Well,
There's a
no
camera. Oh, there's no, it's a podcast. Oh, I didn't get that. Okay.
It's
Well, you didn't tell me what all this was.
It's going on YouTube. There's still video.
There's okay, yeah. So that's not just the audio.
No. Well,
So anyway, so we made it. Yeah, just had me throw it off. See, he still picks on me. So we built this bridge, and to me it meant a lot. My brother bought this job, and it was unloggable, pretty much. There was a huge valley that was just shoop straight down, and like the way the yard was and the timber had to be extracted was 2 acres. And this patch of timber was marked for 750 or 800,000 feet. The 2 acres only had about 20,000 feet on it.
So the rest of it.
Everything else is there. You know, and so everybody went up and looked at this and realized, and this is just outside the Bloomington, everything in Bloomington, the college was here, and we was logging here around the back where they just couldn't quite hear a chainsaw. That's where we logged. So like everybody that knew anything went, oh no, that's not for us. And then my brother, I love you, Rob, I'm sorry. My brother goes up and thinks, well, he had a bunch going on. There's all kinds of things, you know, it probably was the right thing to do, but we bought it. And then his thought was, and he loves me, I love you too, bro. But his thought was, Taylor will figure it out.
Is this the same job where you had people up in the tree on the news? Or was that a different job?
No, that was.
Right.
No, we actually got in and got out relatively
I didn't realize
unscathed
that job was
in
that
this.
close to Bloomington.
It wasn't close to Bloomington.
It was in Bloomington.
It was in Bloomington. It was as close. Like when we drove out the road, you drive out the gravel road, and you start out the gravel road, so you get like an 1/8 mile out the gravel road that you're logging on, and there's all the golf course, or all the tennis courses for the college.
Huh.
So like it was there.
Yeah.
You know, and then you couldn't get to. So anyways, we built this bridge that was, I'll never forget it. Well, me and Dad argued for a long time. What are we going to do? I said, we'll make like a... Of course, the way I behave, you wouldn't trust me with your lawnmower. You know. So I'm telling Dad.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, at least I'm honest. It's that ego. You know, he can do it, I promise you. You know, so it was a free span of 65 feet long. And the deck of this bridge I had envisioned was 25 feet off the ground. So imagine a bridge deck, 65 feet long, 25 feet off the ground. That was the dimensions. We made it out of trees. I was like, we can make this out of trees. We can bridge this valley. And the old man's like, there is no way this ain't happening. I was like, give me the cable, I'll do it. So we got the cable, we got it all figured out. It took me and 2 other guys a day. Corky helped and another guy. It took us a full day, most of a full work day to get it set up. But once we got it set up, we cabled everything together and got it all held. And started trucking logs across, started skidding across.
So basically you went back, cut timber, used those trees that you bought.
Use those, yeah. And
laid them down.
So it was a big deal to me. And then the ego guy in the mirror, he's like, man, we better do something. And at that time, the only way you could be braggy or share, it took me a long time to learn, be interested in other people, not yourself. So, but I was like, hey, look at this, and that's how the YouTube.
So you brought
started.
out YouTube then?
That was it. That was the first.
I always knew YouTube started around the bridge, which the bridge is now the floor in your house.
Yeah, we did stuff. Yeah, we did stuff with it. Yeah, it's me and this bridge has always been together, and
Oh, I didn't know.
some of the stuff in the house is from that bridge. But yeah,
I've seen pictures of it still hanging in the sawmill office up there.
Yeah,
but the thing was, it's not just that it was a bridge, but it was like the in your face to the,
We did a bridge.
Yeah.
Well, and then
it's
what did that thing cost?
Who was the
you?
first test driver to take across the
No,
skidder?
of course it was me. We haven't done yet. They're like, let me do the cables first. I want to cross. And we did record that. Like the first trip across it was, it's rather dysfunctional, but
Did you have to readjust everything, or did it hold the whole job?
it held the whole job. It was people come and looked at it
Really?
and stuff. People would come and look, and I was like, well, I need to share this with people, and
Yeah.
and that's
So
when
basically, you took groups of logs and then you cabled them together in bunches, right?
like a weave. Like a basket weave, like a basket weave. Yeah,
Yeah.
I keep saying hook fin raft, but yeah. Like
But
a
I mean,
basket weave.
there towards the end, you're pulling full drags across the skid.
Oh, he's doing everything. I swear we could have hauled logs across it. And then they cross the skidder and the bridge go, and you'd follow the skidder and it would flex. It was great. It was, just worked perfect. Of course, the colorful characters I logged with, by the end of it, one of them was trying to get the other one to let him pass two skidders, because two skidders just would fit. Unless somebody made a mistake, and then it's 25 feet before you touch ground again.
Big Mom would have been happy with that call.
Yeah, nobody wanted it.
We got one upside down in the valley, fell off.
But that same crew, I will say this, not throwing, that same crew, we put people on helicopters twice. We've, freaking broken bones and you name it. You know what I mean? But that was all manual logging. Cable skidders and chainsaws.
Yeah, but your brain and your thought process on logging, you've been applying to a lot of different techniques, because you can pass forward to the din and tiny.
Well, that was you.
Yeah, well,
That was, so then Dirt Perfect come in, and you wouldn't believe, I think I sum up a lot of our industry, the things that were not taught in our industry that other people from other aspects are educated on. It's just, we're our own downfall. And then Mikey come in, I got to be friends with Mikey, and Mikey kind of took me under his wing and Dirt Perfect started teaching me, how to smartly invest in equipment. And let me tell you, the stuff he's doing on equipment, it's the right way to do it. And I know you're pushing new stuff now, but that's just for them. That's just for them. That ain't,
I don't know.
Mikey's brain don't work that, I
own one new piece of equipment. That's it.
But once he started into that and started opening my eyes to the world as a younger person, where I was impressionable, then I started, well, what can we do? What does these dirt guys have right? Because their R&D department can own our whole industry. You know what I mean? So what can we start doing that kind of...
That's another thing about YouTube, though, is it exposes you to a lot of different ways of thinking and a lot of different pieces of equipment and because the way you guys log here and the way they log in Colorado is two different things.
Exactly.
The way they log here and the way they log in New York is two different things.
It makes the whole industry small.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with dirt.
Yeah.
The way we move dirt and the way J Pay Dirt moves dirt, it's two totally different worlds.
Ways,
Yeah.
They're moving large quantities of dirt large distances. We're moving large quantity of dirt small distances.
And how is he?
I haven't talked to him in a while.
I ain't seen him. I ain't talked to him forever.
Maybe we need to get him on the podcast.
He is a good dude.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But even the way Chris does stuff and the way I do stuff, even though we do similar things, our dirt's different, our setups are different. And neither one of us is right or wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just
it's just your area.
Yeah,
and what
he's
you're doing.
load and haul and I'm push and shove. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's kind of, and I guess it comes down to the equipment.
Why do you end up with so much push and shove? Because you're usually
it's
not moving
faster.
that far distance?
I'm not going that far. It's faster and cheaper.
To what distance roughly?
About 100 yards, 300 feet.
So after 300 feet, then what happens?
Yeah, there's a lot more variables that come into play. Like what kind of mud, what kind of base do you got, how far are we going, how high are we going, what equipment do you have on site? Because sometimes it's cheaper to get two dozers and tandem push.
You grow another dozer out
because
too.
you gain a dozer.
They multiply.
Yeah,
you
they
leave
do.
two dozers together.
So if you link two dozers together, you can go up to the Luttering's rule of thumb was always around 500 feet, which I'd say we don't tend to push a whole lot, but it does make a big difference. But the other thing is, if I'm pushing and shoving all day, I'm sitting in one seat. If Chris is loading and hauling, he's in 3 different seats. He's in an excavator, haul truck, and a dozer.
Well, it also depends how many employees you got.
Yeah.
But for those random times where you do a pond or lake in similar conditions like Chris has, you've learned from the way Chris does it.
We did your sister's lake, Cindy's. We should have pushed and shoved that whole thing. But we had the 210 on demo, and I just bought the haul truck. So we pushed half of it, hauled half of it. It was ridiculous how much faster Jerry was on a dozer than us.
Moving dirt.
Yeah, stupid, ridiculous how much. We would have got that thing done 3 days earlier if I just would have took second dozer up there. But it was a good learning experience, and I tried to convey that on YouTube, which I don't know how well it come across. Now,
Your second to last pond.
the second to
the
last
deep,
pond I did, the deep one, I had no choice but to haul the truck dirt.
because you're moving
It
too
was
Because of the
far.
height of the excavator.
Well, because of the amount of dirt available in the hole.
He had to go to a
We had to go
borrow
to a borrow pit and start hauling dirt out. So I knew there was enough dirt in the hole for Jerry to push, so we just left him alone, let him push. Me and Aaron went and hauled dirt. So Jerry's constantly on the dozer moving. Of course, there was 3 of us, so that helped.
Mm-hmm.
And sure as shit, my borrow pit ran out of dirt, and he ran out of dirt at the same time. The dams were supposed to be. So that one was impossible to do with 2 dozers because I was too far to push the dirt. And we had to kind of haul it through a narrow little keyway.
Yeah,
But
you had actually
it's
two
the same
borrow
way with
pits.
logging. How far do you skid before you get to your yard and load them up?
That's very dependable too,
You know what I
end
mean?
Up,
So
you
it's-
end up over a half mile. You need to be
Yeah.
thinking, is there a reason to bring the truck in?
Yeah.
But if you're at a mile, yeah, you're trucking.
Yeah.
You're
It's,
3/4 of a mile.
there's a
you're
lot of the same process
Yeah.
of where you're better off just skidding it and being done. You might burn a little more fuel, a little more time, but you don't have the expense and the time of hauling this all this stuff in and operators and
And
there's so much more that goes into. Everybody's
every
like, well,
job's
if you would have had.
Oh, no.
Hold on, folks. We should have backup power shortly.
What was that about?
Power went out, I guess. See if the generator starts up.
Did you
Listen,
lose
we're all
connection?
still-
Hold on, we're still here.
We're
because
here.
We're still here. Hold
Yep.
on. We got.
How do you know when you got connection and when you
There
don't?
goes the generator. Let me go flip switch. I'll be right back.
How do you know we're still on?
because cameras
It's
on.
everything's on battery.
Everything's
Your
on
low
battery.
light sucks on this GoPro.
See how easy that is?
Yeah.
That's nice.
You got a brand new power line to Derby, Mayor, and you still run out of power.
I'll plug myself.
I don't know if that.
Is that new power line coming this way?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it come into Derby. is what
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying.
it could have been some crazy person taking out the power line like you did the water line,
could
like
be.
3 miles.
My combine is parked.
Maybe some combine lost control down a hill. You never know.
So, but what a lot of people, my argument is all the time, we're getting way off the subject on equipment here, but bigger is not always better. 'Cause just because I could get the job done faster if a bigger piece of equipment was on site, if you take into consideration the time and effort it takes to get there, you may spend 2 days hauling and moving this piece in and out to save, 3 hours? Just stick with your teaspoon and get it done.
Well,
You know what I
trucking-
mean?
Yeah.
Trucking's
Yeah, and a
expensive.
lot less maintenance.
Yeah.
A lot less to
and
maintain.
The smaller piece of equipment is available for a lot more variety of jobs versus that big piece of equipment's got to be dedicated.
To that job.
To that
it's
job.
a specialty,
Yeah.
specialized.
So it's what do we do? It's looking like we're in trouble.
It's a major power outage. My whole house is out of power.
Oh, see, it's
That's coming from Hoosier Hills then, probably.
Yeah, there's a.
It seems like anytime we lose
I got
power,
a
it's
full
almost
tank of
always.
propane back here, so we're good for like 70.
Yeah. We're gonna put that on back of
Everybody
that.
that's watching this don't have power. No, we have the power. We have all the power.
Well, I guarantee you, I'm on the neighborhood with all the power.
What was the super? We have He-Man.
Sure.
It's He-Man. I was trying to tell the boys the other day, we was talking about, being romantic. I was trying to, they was having girl trouble. So I was trying to teach them how to be romantic. I was like, well, you got to remember the stuff that your wife.
I love you to death, but I don't
appreciates.
know if being romantic needs to come from
Well,
me.
I'm serious. So like, I told him about my wife's favorite wrestler, which turned out to be Bret the Hitman Hart. That used to be her favorite wrestler, but I thought it was the Macho Man Randy Savage. So I was telling him, so I've been like doing the Macho Man Tatey Savage and around the house and bedrooms, things like that.
You're the wrong wrestler.
It is the wrong wrestler.
The whole
But
time.
still, it was the thought that counts. It's like Christmas.
When did she tell you
She
it was
was
the wrong wrestler?
overwhelmed. She was overwhelmed with joy. That I remembered that. Well, I remembered stuff. I remembered things.
My wife's
I might not be that, but I remember.
So who's her favorite wrestler?
Her favorite wrestler. Well, after I found out, after she spoiled everything, I found out it was
Ruined it. for
Bret the
everybody.
Hitman Hart. But I thought it was
yeah.
the Macho Man Randy Savage,
No.
which you would think the Macho Man
Everybody
Randy
liked
Savage when it comes
the
to being
Hitman. He
a
was good.
romantic. When it comes to being romantic, you would think Macho Man Randy Savage.
When I think
would be the-
romance, I think wrestling every time. Yeah.
Exactly. See,
Like
I
a
mean,
no joke Johnny Pope, and that's not romantic.
he was pretty romantic too. No
Oh
joke
my
was.
goodness.
I would think
So we're
he'd
going to
be-
ask the question?
We're getting around to it.
Okay.
Well, that's why I'm here.
So we know why you started YouTube. So I guess, yeah. So why hasn't longer wait?
I don't know. It's what do they say about objects?
I don't know.
Objects in motion tends to stay in motion, and objects not in motion tend to stay not in motion.
I think you made that up, but I like where you're going.
But
I think that's something. That
That's
exists.
it is
something?
something. I forget how it goes, but yeah, I just kind of it's been a rough beginning of the summer and rough summer markets and some happenings and some things. They just got rough, and I was like, something has to give. Something's got to give. And then once I'm sorry, but it's a YouTube. Those of you that have watched my channel, apologize for for kind of leaving y'all hanging. I didn't know how to do it gracefully. I did sort of a microphone drop and walked off. I told Mikey when it happened, I was doing something. I was already feeling like I was already pushing content I didn't have my heart in. You know what I mean? I'm
And
already doing that.
people pick up on that too.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm already pushing content I don't have my heart in. And I've got all this going on in the background, behind the scenes, that you can't show on YouTube. Or if you, okay, I guess you could.
I mean, you could, but
I
one, it's
couldn't
none of their
beat
business.
all
and
of
two,
that
it's
out.
not.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
There's no way. There's no story. It's just the boring stuff of being a business owner.
I wouldn't say boring.
Well, as far as if you film that and put it on YouTube, there's so much stuff that had to be that's confidential. Is that a good?
I guess. Yeah, you need to have something that's your own. You don't.
Well, you can't. You
everything
can't share that. You can't share.
If I was a Kardashian, maybe.
you can't share every
We're
day.
no Kardashians. I mean, I'm
You
like
can't
this.
share the contents of every morning's business meeting with everybody on YouTube. Well,
Yeah.
the world don't work that way.
Yeah.
So-
And but anyways, it got, and then once it did, I was having a rough patch. I wouldn't say rough day. You don't want to. You always got to watch letting a rough part of your day ruin your whole day, or letting a rough day ruin your whole month. You got to watch that stuff. But I was in the middle of something. It was a rough patch. It'd been 2 months in, 3 months in, and I was doing something, pushing content I didn't care about, I guess, per se. And somebody said something half smart alecky on there, and I was like, you know what? I hit the delete button, I got up, shut the computer off, and I didn't start it again for 6 months. I started this morning. First time I started since I got up, and it's been over 6 months.
We were just talking about.
In a nutshell, that's my story.
Well, I mean, would it be fair to say that the priority of YouTube and your
What you
How much
bragging about all this
propane did
propane
you
you
have?
got?
Yeah, what about all this
Man,
gas?
I got all the propane.
I think you got a leak, bud.
it's the furnace kicking on in the house.
Oh,
Would it be fair to say that the priority of YouTube with the family and the business had to take a back seat?
yeah, and I didn't handle it right, and I apologize to anybody that if it would have upset anybody or something, I apologize for that. But
I think the biggest thing is a lot of people were just genuinely concerned about you.
Yeah, they've just
You know, that's all the comments I've seen.
You know, the way we was raised, Chris knows it. I was talking to a wonderful lady the other day, graduated with me and Chris. Wonderful gal. She moved to Evansville, and she was she moved to the big town. You know, we're from the country bumpkins, and she moved to the big town. And she was a guidance counselor for one of these big schools in Evansville for 20 years. You know, and
We've been out of school that long.
yes. I mean, she just started
make me
to
feel
You
old.
said earlier you
anyways,
graduated in
She goes,
97.
the thing I don't understand about urban children is they are taught. She said, you know how we all are. When we deal with something, when we deal with our mess, we go to a corner and we deal with our mess, and you'll see us again when anything's right.
Right.
You know what I mean? She said, these kids, they come in and she said, all I did was just patch them up a little bit, send them out the door, and they come in tomorrow, fell apart again. You know, she said, I just, like, I don't know if it's in the parents, in the society, or in their environment. You know, it's just like, she said, they just don't handle things like we do. And I'm like, I said, maybe we're weird. You know, maybe it ain't them, maybe it's us. Maybe when, when the things go bad and it gets rough, don't need to go bawling nobody's shoulders, don't need to
I think we
hog up anybody else's time, just need to go deal with your mess and then come back when your mess is good. And the mess is good, been good for a long time.
I think we've all been
Something-
raised. I think we've all been very lucky to be raised in good families. First of all,
Yes, everyone.
but we've all been raised with failure's not an option. You just figure it out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to go.
If plan A don't work, you don't whine about it. You go to plan B. If plan B
Exactly.
don't work, you reevaluate and go to plan C.
And that's my problem with this social media. That's my problem with it. Is if you're like me, you wear your stuff on your sleeve, too much gets out when you're having that bad day. You know, too much. I didn't want to say that. What did I say that for? You know, because my mind was on 14 other things while I had this thing going.
Yeah.
I do think that's why a lot of people liked you and followed you, though, because they knew you were genuine.
There ain't much of a filter.
Yeah.
The light's been on. We've been bypassing forever.
So, do you think there's ever a world which Longer Wade makes a return to some capacity?
I'm trying to work. Like I said, I'm trying to
Even
work
if
on
it's-
it.
At least he turned the computer on.
I turned the computer on this morning.
Yeah.
I have no content.
Well, it's like we've talked in the past, though. You know, I don't think you have to push a video every other day or even a video a week, but just popping something up there once a month, just a
I was
random
gonna say
update video.
Bobby did once a month.
Yeah.
They was
Yeah.
content with that.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess the thing I hate for you is you worked 15 years to build that channel you got.
It is true. Yeah.
You're this damn close to a huge milestone.
Yeah, that's what my boy said. That's what one of my
Huge
kids
damn
said.
close to this milestone. And here's what I think you're going to miss one day. And I could be way wrong.
Not making that a milestone.
No, I don't think that's going to be it. Because I've been doing this a quarter of the time you have, and Gunnar and I still go back and watch old videos.
Huh.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
because what you don't realize you're doing at the time is documenting your life.
Yeah, that's true.
And whenever your kids have kids, and they want to know how it used to be back in the old time, they don't have to listen to stories. They can go back and watch.
Yeah, that is.
So if you just keep that timeline updated enough to where whenever screw everybody watching. You keep that timeline updated enough that there's not a huge gap in there whenever your grandkids go back and watch this to explain the timeline of how you got from point A to point B. I mean, I would do it for myself just for that reason, but
For documentation purposes. Yeah.
Well, I think to an extent that's why most of us probably started.
it's a huge reason.
You said what now?
I'd say to an extent, I'd say that's why some of us started the channel. Just to record stuff so I can go back and look at it later.
I give
you know?
Wade a lot of credit for pushing me over the top and giving me the confidence to do YouTube. But one of the determining factors for me was
The whole George Bush presidency thing.
that did it. That
That was it.
was my dad got killed long before I was doing YouTube, and we got all these still pictures of him. I ain't got a single video of him running a piece of equipment,
Right.
and he's one of the best damn equipment operators
Yeah.
going around. I got no video of him running equipment. I got pictures of him standing on equipment. I got pictures of him on this. I heard how good he was. People tell me how good his was. I never seen it. I have no video to show Gunner how good his papa was running a piece of equipment.
But now you got video to show them how good you are.
Well, they can judge on themselves, but they got plenty of video out there to watch.
Yeah.
And it's still cool. Even the old videos you posted on the Simon C&E channel.
Oh, I know.
Go back and watch
I know.
those to see where you come from, where you're at now, and then to have all the blanks filled in between. It's probably a selfish reason. And I posted that video with Grandpa at the mine site.
Yeah.
You know, I heard that story my whole life, and I got it just in the nick of time where he completely was unable to film that. But I'm very, very thankful. I got a podcast with Grandpa before he got too far gone. That's documentation.
Yeah, documentation.
You know what I mean? Wouldn't you love to have all the videos of your dad and what they did back in the day with
Oh,
Monkey and
yeah.
Greg and
Man,
Herman?
I grew up, my uncles and my old man and all them characters, all them colorful characters.
How'd we
You won't believe the stories that.
So
surprised we're even here?
I know, but, you know, my thought is, even if you just did a video every other week or one video a month, and all you did was walk around the mill and say what changed and how you got to where you're at and who's come, who's gone, what the plan is, and
Need to do something like that.
I would have to dig, but I think 7th grade class we had to do a video,
really,
and I
Oh, this
think
sounds
I've
like-
got a VHS tape of the sawmill.
Did you record this?
I recorded a video like 7th grade, and where that VHS tape is,
You got to dig.
I don't know where
we
it's
didn't get
at.
that digitized.
But I wouldn't talk in it. Wade done most of the talking.
Oh, imagine that.
Yes.
I don't even remember this, damn it. So we done it together?
Yes. Yes. you
That
know.
was our first YouTube.
That was
You
our
put it
first
up when you call that our first YouTube video.
Yeah. My first YouTube video is recorded and edited. I've yet to post it on my channel yet.
The first video he ever posted, he didn't say a word. You ever see his first video?
Mine was the same way.
He put his camera up on the front of his side by side. He got off, shoved the grain bin over, picked his camera up, and drove off. That's all it was.
I think my first 5 videos, there's no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
Yeah.
it's about 5 or 6. I finally come on here. I said, "Well, my wife says I need to start talking in this."
Yeah.
I still
I
think you're
hated
best.
Then I ain't shut up. Said, "Man, I want to go back and see them first midgets."
If I found a VHS tape, who's even got a VHS player to even play
Oh,
tape?
Wolf
I got
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
yet.
Captain raising
We'll
his
find
hand.
one.
It's got a hand crank on the side. It's got the flywheel. You
Look at the big old screen we got out here. We're going to have a 7th grade documentary.
Get her
I had to
wound
borrow
up.
some of Mikey's propane here to run it. Though.
Hey, you guys are laughing. We're not sitting here in the dark, are we?
Nope. Nope.
Oh my God, Derby.
I'm just worried about my pigs.
Yeah.
So, well, Wade, I thank everybody watching. We do miss you.
guys.
We do.
So, yeah.
You gotta do
And I
what's
miss everybody.
You gotta do what's best for Wade and your family,
Yep.
though.
Yeah,
You can't
man,
let
I've been such a good dad lately. You know, I'm sitting there with Calvin this morning. He was trying to get me to do something. I'm sitting there staring at that computer, and I'm like, I ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean?
you know,
I
but
said,
but
if
your
I
kids
start
are
this,
up.
so you know where your dad is. So if I start this, I can't be the man that I've been all summer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And I have loved the time I spent with my kids.
Yeah.
Which that's priority too.
Yeah.
I can't.
So I got to find a way to, and Mom's like, everything you do, you have to do. She said, when you drink all of it. She said,
She ain't lying
when
there.
you work all the time. She said, well, you just don't do all of it. Just do it in,
That balance is hard.
moderation.
Balance is hard.
Balance is hard.
I
It
think
really
that's
is.
one place I may have you beat a little bit, is I can regulate a little better. And that's one. I know everybody calls me the History Channel, but that's a big key to
Yeah.
helping me regulate and not get burnt out and spend time with the kids. And
See, Blackie made a comeback.
Yeah.
Longer way to make
Oh,
a comeback one of these days.
Yep.
yeah.
Things are finally leveling out.
Yeah, I just hate to
Finally
see
getting
you
better.
documented your life for so long and everything you did.
Yeah.
You're gonna wish you
I
had
appreciate that. That's
It's
how
just
much.
do it. Don't do it for them. Do it for yourself. Even if
Yeah.
you
Oh,
don't, even
absolutely.
if you don't post the damn videos, just put them unlisted and leave them up there.
Something pretty boys.
Oh, I'm not so backward. I wouldn't, once it starts,
Yeah, but I would not go. I mean, I would not go
Shut
in.
up.
There's Jason works a lot.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, buddy.
Hold on a second, Siffy.
You guys know you've been live the whole
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah.
We're
Hi, Bubba.
We're recording a podcast with Wade.
Oh boy.
You're live.
I'm live?
Well, we're live recording. We're not live on YouTube. We're sitting.
Kinda like that now.
Well, we're glad our original host was able to make an appearance here.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me give you a call back here in about 10.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, see you. But no, that's
He's a damn sweetheart.
Oh,
Think
yeah.
all the stuff that he's influenced.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what we talked about previous on these podcasts.
Getting backwards, yeah.
But that's one of the best things about YouTube is people you meet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
relationships, opportunities.
And to me, the job, what we do all day is so daggone demanding. It was like it was their only, other than your family, it's the only time you get to be a kid again.
I don't think people realize. I mean, obviously the people who do it realize, but the people who don't do it realize how time extensive being self-employed is.
That's your lifestyle. That's your.
It's
your
a lifestyle.
life.
That's exactly right. It's a
Yeah.
lifestyle.
I mean,
It's,
I'm.
you
I'm a
don't know
little
if
bit
you're gonna
different. I'm farming. You know,
only
I've got
people that-
Mother Nature pushing me out the window all the time.
Well, you don't know when you're going to blow a speed sensor and make a 4-hour round trip at 7 o'clock on Friday.
I know.
The only type of people that talks about work-life balance is people that don't have a company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Work-life balance, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wide open work
And
until you
being
lay down and go to bed
self-employed is
for
not
us.
for everybody.
No,
mean,
it's a
no.
mindset. And in the school system, and your generation before you raises you in a certain way where you either can mentally get into that mindset or it's totally, well, you don't get, like if you compare like what you make on the hour compared to like a good person that works at a good factory, you're like, well, why would you even do that? It's like, well, what's your that's great. You made $45 an hour. I'm proud of you. Is that scalable? Great. I'm proud of your $45 an hour. Can you scale it? No. I can maybe make $46 an hour. Well, that's good. Go make 46.
Yeah.
And then they're going to pay you like that. And they got the baseball bat driving you out the door before you get too much time and a half cranked up.
Well,
You know
the
what I mean?
other-
So there's all
but-
them regulating. But like to. It's like when Dorothy went to Withers of Oz, when you seen the light, then you're going to see all the light. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, but to counter your
some
argument,
people's made for black and white. Some people's made
to counter your argument, those people that work those broker jobs, I don't want to sound like I'm downgrading anybody.
No, I don't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that.
You know where the ceiling's at. They also know where the floor's at.
Exactly.
know,
yeah, exactly. There is.
We're
the-
we're one issue away from losing our ass. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
It's all so. They also got the safety net, and we also, which we don't have a safety net, but we also don't have a ceiling.
Yeah,
Does that
we
make
don't have
sense?
selling, yeah.
And there's a lot of variables.
Yes,
Weather.
lots of variables.
Weather probably being the biggest one. There's a
Weather,
lot of
equipment.
variables. So.
Yeah,
And people.
And he's a
You add a lot of
he's a
people.
self-employed hobbyist.
Liability, people,
Yeah.
insurance,
Well, we're all the same way. If you got people working for
energy
you,
costs.
you feel like they're part of your family. You feel like you're responsible for making sure their family.
Yeah, and you better be, or you ain't packing the gear to do it.
Yeah.
If you got a guy working for you and you don't feel like that's your kid, and you ain't that, if that ain't your kid or your brother or your whatever, always call it like a brotherhood, If his old lady's mad at him and they're, we got it out, well, did you talk to her? Well, why did you, are you being an asshole? Is she out of line? Well, and you're like, what am I doing? I got work to do. You know what I mean? No, that's your people is the most important asset you have. If you ain't taking care of them and it ain't in the back of your mind, I must take care of these people because they are my people. Then you ain't got the gear to do it to start with.
Well, if you ain't taking care of them, they're not going to take care of you.
Exactly.
exactly
Coming
right.
from
Exactly.
the employee side of it.
So you ain't going to have nothing.
And as we're getting way off base here, but as an employer, you need to share with them how important they are to being part of the team
Yeah,
and how
exactly.
they're how much they put into it, they will get out of it. But sometimes that gets tricky too, because I can't tell you if we don't get paid Friday, we're out of the fucking job. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
yeah.
that might be the reality of it, but it's my job to figure that out and worry about it not hitting.
Yeah.
And me coming out there and getting mad at him, putting a whole bunch of pressure on him screwing something up, it may get us past next Friday, but then
Yeah.
we got another problem. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
and every business has been in that scenario. You know, I'm sure you've been one truckload of grain away from being belly up. You've been one load of logs away from being belly
Yeah, it's
up.
been close.
And I've been,
But then you turn around, and my golly, my mom and my sister, whew, they could pull off things I don't know what. I was like, how did you do that? My wife spent like you remember that Cadillac we had? We bought a used Cadillac just because I
yes.
wanted my wife to think she didn't marry a loser. So we bought a used Cadillac. And I was like the worst.
That's right there.
That's like the worst thing you could buy is a used Cadillac. I mean, they are
your father-
jalopies. They do not age well.
Your father-in-law still drives one.
So we get this used Cadillac, and I was like, we saved enough money on this used Cadillac. I'll put you a new motor in the damn thing. So the motor messed up, I put a new one in. Transmission messed up, I put a new one in. So there you go. You got you a new car. I gave it to you. Well, then the company ran her for 6 years running checks from Peter to Paul. That burnt the roads down that Cadillac. My wife burnt the roads down that Cadillac for 6 years.
He picked her up in a super bin and give her a Cadillac.
I'd pretty much she's pretty much got it made.
She's got her like she ever wants to say.
Maybe we need to have a podcast with Ann. See how much she's got it made.
Yeah, I'd let her.
I got a feeling she may have a different take on this.
She thinks I'm arrogant, and I think she's lucky to have me.
The old super
But
bin.
that says a lot. I mean, 6 years to wear a Cadillac out, just taking a check from Peter and going giving it to Paul because you can't.
Basically,
You can't wait to
and
mail
what
it?
you're trying to say was you're running the roads to keep your head above water.
Yeah.
You know,
You know how many logging jobs we started on Friday? Why ain't we doing it on Wednesday or Thursday? We're starting Friday. Well, it's going to rain Sunday. We'll log in the rain. Cause the check, you
had
give
to
the
pay
landowner the check on Friday, and you make damn sure you're sawing white oak on Monday morning, and that thing gets trucked out Monday afternoon.
Before he
You
gets to the
chase
bank
that
to
damn
cash
check
it.
down for 6 years.
but the never give up attitude. Look where you're at now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now she's
That's what I was going to say.
now she's driving a different car.
To me, the worst. To me, the worst words to tell a self-employed guy is tell me you can't do it.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's just fuel for me. Is somebody tell me you can't do it, and I'm just,
That's also cost me a lot of money.
I know.
Yeah, sometimes, you need to know to pick your battles. Yeah.
Just because you can do it don't mean it's worth it. But I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
100%. So, well, Wayne, we better wrap this one up.
Thank you guys for
taking
having
too
me.
much of your time. I appreciate you coming down, kind of
Really
explaining where
working.
you're at. Even if you don't post on the channel, you have to come back and join us on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll try to get something rolling.
You made a little appearance in my video here a while back. I had Blackie going.
Down at Derby Market.
Yeah,
Everybody.
it wasn't finished yet, but it was going.
Then I think you got posted today on Lord Muck's channel.
He sent me that link, and man, I was blown away.
we
Lord
need-
Muck, if you hear this or anything, anyway,
He's supposed
man,
to be
I'm-
Lord Muck's supposed to be coming over. I think he's going to join us on the
he's the
podcast.
sweetest daggone
Yeah,
person.
indeed.
Do we need to get Officer Hoover to inspect Blackie now that it's all put together, or is it ready for inspection, or?
I don't know if he's ready. Officer Hoover's probably never inspected a truck as nice as Black. See, I told Larry the other day, he's got this Kenworth, this W900 stretched out job, and I told him this is like them cigarette laws. You ain't allowed to get within 8 feet of my show truck. That's what I've been
We'll wrap it up on that.
We'll wrap that up
We'll
on
wrap
that.
it up on that note. Guys, thanks for listening. Wade, thanks for coming.
Yeah, sorry.
Captain Kleeman, thanks for being best guest host.
Sure, man.
And surprise, surprise, yes, he's on the next podcast.
I don't know. Oh, it's me.
Oh, peace out, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.